Although that's such a cool engine, it would be neat to put into something. See, this is why I can't get rid of anything. Welcome back to Lost Cause Ranch. And man, you may be able to hear the wind going right now. That means winter is blowing in. In a couple days, we're gonna have 10 plus inches of snow, which means this is the last time we'll probably get a shot to look at the entire collection without at least some of these guys being covered in snow. A lot of you guys have been asking what's going on with certain things in the collection. So today, we're gonna update you on the status of everything. Starting with the current workhorse of the fleet, the L405. I heard it's a little windy and cold out there, so we moved inside. But man, the L405, we bought that guy to replace the budget LR4 for daily duties. We got it 4 or 5 months ago, and we have put 10,000 miles on it, with probably about 7,000 of those miles having a Land Rover in tow behind it. I am just super impressed with it, and I cannot believe how good it is. It is 5-liter supercharged, so plenty of power, plenty of brake, plenty of comfort, and it has hauled everything just better than can be imagined. It's sitting on a set of 18s with almost 33-inch tires. The only thing I want to do to it is give it a little more armor. We damaged it a little bit in Moab. I'd like to be able to take it off-road without having to worry about doing too much damage. I don't mind scratches and whatnot, but we don't need to mess a door up or a bunch of coolers up front. So we'll build something a little sturdier for the front bumper, rear bumper, rock sliders, and we'll do some skids underneath, along with maybe building a rack up top. I do miss having a roof rack like on the LR4, but other than that, that thing is just going to be the daily, and it is great at it. So on to the rest of the fleet. We're gonna go through the stuff outside, then move inside. And we'll go with a quick recap on the newest additions before we dive into the rest of the stuff. So that would put us with the X-Mod Defender. We just purchased it. It doesn't have a powertrain. I'm not exactly sure what we should do with this guy just yet, but I think we're just gonna get it running, driving, and maybe someone else needs it more than I do. And for that, I'm thinking a 200, 300 TDI, or maybe a Rover V8 with a Holly Sniper fuel setup. We got a few Rover V8s laying around. We don't have any diesels laying around, but we do have a transmission for a diesel. So I guess it's just kind of what we find in the meantime to figure out which direction to go on that. Then we have our super clean Rustwise green D1 that we just picked up. This is the one we just grabbed in Minnesota. It's originally from Idaho. Looks like it's had some fun on the trails. It's got some scrapes and scratches and stuff, but it is rust-free everywhere. So it was worth saving. It does not run. It's got some sort of immobilizer issue. We're gonna get this guy running and then move it along to someone else. Maybe we'll throw a lift and some tires on it before we do that. But that thing's gonna make someone a perfect trail truck without having to deal with the headaches of having a rotted one. Then we got probably the most impractical thing I've ever purchased. The 6x6, or technically a 6x4. We crawl underneath here. It's got a Bluetooth drive shaft. This is our 2004 Discovery that is on 2 Discovery 1 chassis with 6 axles underneath and 4.8 LS swapped into it with the ACE conversion kit. A lot of you guys came to the channel off of our first ACE conversion kit many years ago. So I'm happy to have another one to play with, and I'm even happier to have one that is as ridiculous as this that has 6 axles. Now what we're gonna do with it is try and figure out how we wanna power that rear axle. Right now it's just free spinning, not helping the cause. So that's the big thing we need to figure out. There's a few different ways to go. We discussed that in the other video and got a lot of feedback from that video, so I appreciate all of you leading us in the right direction. But other than that, for the time being, we're just gonna drive it, use it. It's gonna be my Menards truck. I can haul lots of 2x4s with it, but that thing was just too cool to pass up, so I'm glad we have it here. And then we got the budget LR4. This was the daily driver. This was the workhorse of the channel. We did everything with it, and I will never not have an LR4 because of this particular vehicle. It has just been so useful. They are some of the best Land Rovers you can buy. We did do timing chains, we did a little bit of a lift, we did a little bigger tire, and we just had a load of fun with it. This is an HD package with the rear locker, so it is a good truck to have. Unfortunately, I overheated it. My fault, not the Land Rover's fault. And I think we damaged a head gasket. So sometime in the latter part of December, we're slotted in to bring it into the shop, and we are gonna pull the body off it. And we'll be able to give you guys a real in-depth look at that 5-liter V8 as we tear it apart. I'm pretty excited about that. And then we got some pretty cool stuff with the body and whatnot happening after we get the engine sorted. And the beloved Range Rover Camper. I kind of feel bad about this guy. We're in the middle of the 1-ton axle swap as I decided to sell the house by the car wash, so that kind of threw everything on the back burner. I mean, that threw everything. Every Land Rover on the back burner. It's a lot of work to move as much stuff as I have. I probably have too much stuff. But no, now that we're kind of settled into the car wash, I have those 8-lug axles sitting nice and cozy inside, working their way closer to the list of getting finished. There's not much we have to do besides get the Range Rover inside, pull the factory axles off, fit everything up. That way we can weld all the brackets that we have tacked on. Essentially, we're using the factory Rover suspension points onto Chevy 8-lug axles. The suspension surprisingly works so well on that thing. When Ted and I flew out to Montana, drove it back home, we went through and did a little light off-roading. We did 70 miles an hour on the highway. It handled everything as good as you can expect for having such a large camper shell on the back of it. So I don't want to mess with that. So that should be slotted in sometime this winter, because we also need the axles that are currently under it with the 488 gears for something else. We're gonna juggle some things around. And next to that, we got the Nada. I'm not exactly sure what to do with this thing at the moment. I have a lot of parts collected, sitting, waiting, and just don't know what direction I wanna go, whether I go back to a more factory setup. We have the 2.6 inline 6 sitting. Or if I wanna make something a little more rowdy, a little bigger power, bigger tire. It's kind of what I'm leaning towards, but I'm just gonna let that one sit for a minute. But it's still on the horizon, and I'm kind of working a little more full-time on all the Rover stuff now than I have been able to in the past couple years, dedicating a little more time to the channel. So depending on how all that goes, we have a lot more time to work on stuff, so that could get bumped up the list. So we shall see. And the Eco Challenge. Honestly, this is probably my favorite Land Rover in the entire collection. It just goes out, works, does its thing.
Awesome.
It's a simple, old school setup. A lot of old school RTE parts. It works, it flexes, it gets around great. The only thing I might want to do is step up from like a 235 85/16 tire to a 255 85/16. And it currently has a True Track in the rear. And I think for simplicity's sake, I want to do like a Detroit locker in the rear and a True Track up front. And just keep that thing around to just have fun with. I mean, we got to have something that just works. I almost forgot to mention, we just swapped a Callaway engine in that. Yes, the Range Rover Callaway engine. Doesn't get any better than that. I mean, it probably does, but not in my world. Then the Freelander. This guy is probably the next thing you'll see on the channel. This is the Freelander that we took on the Rover Ball, attempting to drive across the country. It didn't make it. It made it from Iowa to New York, back to Ohio before it broke. And pulled over on the side of the road. That looks like a tad bit more than AC condensation. Conveniently enough, broke next to a buddy's shop. We borrowed an NAS Defender and finished the trip off with that, so I'm almost happy the Freelander broke. But it started puking coolant on the highway, which is odd because before we left, we did head gaskets, all new timing stuff, new water pump. It appears it's leaking from the new water pump. But what we're gonna do is tear that down and figure out what happened to the greatest Land Rover ever made, the 3-door Freelander. Then hopefully get that back on the road because I do miss it. And then rounding out stuff up front, we have Merlin the LR4. This was the free one that we did the timing chain job on. This has a new home designated. I just have a couple minor issues that we've been working through on different stuff. And we're down to just pretty much control arm bushings and putting a different set of wheels on it. It's got a 2.5-inch lift on it, so it just needs a little bigger wheel and tire back on it. I almost don't want to get rid of it though, because this is the Rover that we took up to the Minnesota Anarch event, and that was the last trip Sasha went on. What do you think, Sasha? On another adventure. So it's kind of got a little sentimental value, but who knows. Then out back, we got the P38. This is our yellow Vitesse, and I think it's getting ready to get tore down. I need some parts off it. I want the engine out of it. If you happen to need any P38 parts, including a pretty clean black with yellow piping Vitesse interior, let me know. That might sway me to tearing it apart a little bit sooner. Then back here we have the Kalahari and a kind of rough green D2. These two, they're gonna become one. We bought the green D2 for the frame. It came from Oklahoma, super clean underneath. We're gonna rip the body off. Pretty much all that's junk. And the Kalahari was a Midwest vehicle, so the frame, not that great. So we're gonna take those two, make one, but not only is the Kalahari a Land Rover special vehicle, we are gonna make it a Lost Cause Ranch special vehicle. That one's gonna end up pretty neat, at least I think. Then inside here, we have a pretty neat project that is what is left over from that Santana Ted bought. We moved it in before the snow. That's the one that is donating the engine to the lightweight, and it's also donating its partial body to that wall. You know, the necessary things in life. And then behind that, we tucked the lightweight back out of the way. We've done a few videos recently on this, so we don't need to get too in depth, but this is getting that little 2 1/4 diesel in it first, the one that we just started up in Ted's basement. And we're gonna have the original Iron Off-Road guys build some trick axles for it, and maybe someday it'll actually run with these 35s, but we're gonna put a smaller tire on it and just go out and have a blast with it. Low power for now, maybe a turbo in the future, but I am just super stoked with how that guy looks. This guy's also inside, but that doesn't exist. You don't know about that. Pretend you didn't see it. Then we have the old LS3 Defender. This has been the one that everyone has been asking about. Where did the LS3 Defender go? Well, it went into the car wash. This is our 1988 Defender 90. Pretty much all new everything. New galvanized chassis, new galvanized bulkhead, brand new from GM crate LS3 and 6L80E. It's just pretty much all new. And this one was another victim of the car wash purchase and selling the house. We were in the middle of making our custom aluminum dash, but we put this project on pause. And this right here is the reason why we put that guy on pause. So part of the whole plan of buying the car wash was the ability to set up our little mini machine shop. We added a CNC press brake. We had the CNC laser, but we also added a CNC lathe and a pretty slick CNC vertical machining center. So that LS3 Defender is a pretty custom job with a lot of custom pieces. Knowing that we were gonna have all this capability coming in the future, I just decided to halt all progress. That way we wouldn't feel the need to redo a bunch of stuff once we have all this neat machinery up and running and able to blast out some neat pieces for that and all the other Rovers. But now that everything is up and running, that project will be up and running as well. So stay tuned in the next couple months of seeing some neat updates on that. It's a little bit of a mess right now. We're in the process of installing the new garage doors, but this truly is the neatest part of the car wash. It's gonna allow us to have a lot of fun, which means a lot of fun stuff for you guys to see. I was just editing the video and man, I can't believe I forgot about the frickin' G4. Yes, that is still around. That is sitting over in one of Ted's garages, hanging out with Ted's Rovers. That just needs some paint work and reassembly. But we also have a fresh head gasket set with studs sitting inside it. So I think Ted's gonna go ahead and tackle the studs. We're gonna give the inside and door jambs a fresh paint job ourselves and then give the exterior to someone else. That is a low mile G4 Discovery 2. That is such a cool rig. I think Ted might just start driving that one. Got a little bit of a lift. We got steel bumpers front and rear, roof rack, and it's got quite possibly the coolest look of any Discovery. On the front of stuff over at Ted's, someday I think we'll also go through his pile of Rovers. There's some pretty cool stuff happening over there. And I guess since we're forgetting things, non-Rover related, we also have the trailer. It's looking much more fresh now. I alluded in the last video that we were gonna touch it up after our little Moab trailer fiasco. I figured since the Range Rover's green, the red needed to go away. I didn't mind it behind a silver LR4, but I just can't have the Christmas edition rolling down the road. So, little charcoal gray hit the spot. And then to tie up a couple other loose ends, we also have some random cool engines laying around. We got that V10 TDI engine out of the Volkswagen Touareg, still sitting in the storage unit. I saved that for something. I may just sell it. I need to get a little more focused than I am. I also have the Maserati 4.7 liter V8. I bought that Quattroporte for the engine, but I think that should go on the chopping block too. Although that's such a cool engine, it would be neat to put into something. See, this is why I can't get rid of anything. And with that being said, I appreciate you guys watching. Figured everyone deserved a little bit of an update on where everything stands after the whirlwind of a summer in selling the house and purchasing the car wash. I'm happy to say we're finally settled, even though right now it looks like a little bit of a mess because we are preparing for a little bit of snow. See, I told you guys we had a little bit of snow coming, or a lot of bit of snow, but we're done going to pick up Land Rovers, besides this one. We won't talk about that one. But that means we are now just back in the shop working on Land Rovers. So in the next couple months, while it's snowing out here, we'll be inside the warm car wash, hammering away at projects. So we can have another fun year next year. Then surprisingly, we are down to just 2 vehicles that are not Land Rovers. The Chevy C10 truck that I've had for 20 years, it's actually only been 13, and the 944 Turbo. Honestly, I think with everything going on in life and in the Rover project world, I think it's time for these 2 to go. 944 is a project, it's a running project. It's a turbo, broadfoot, wide body, CCW classic wheels. Such a cool car. I'm just not gonna probably use it. And the C10, I think I just need to tackle a couple things quick, get it a roller, maybe get it running and driving and push that down the road. We got too many things to do. We can't be wasting time with non-rovers.